our story that we're going to discuss right now is about a study that was done about how tears, the smell of tears, makes men less sexually stimulated, we can say, right?
I mean, they use the sniffing test as a way to gauge this, but just tears in general coming from women.
Right. So what they did was they collected tears from women who watched sad movies, and then they put them in sort of like a cotton ball, and then I guess attached it underneath the man's nose, and then to a separate group of men, instead of tears, it was saline.
Mm-hmm.
And so they showed the men pictures of different women, and then I guess they asked them to say how sexy they were, right, or how attractive they were. And the group of men who had the tears didn't respond as favorable as the man who inhaled the saline. And then the next day they did the same test, but vice versa. The men who had the saline the day before now have the tears, and the men yesterday now have the saline. And the results were still the same. The men who had the tears were less likely to say, "Oh man, she's sexy."
Yeah, so it kind of diminished their sexual attraction and their hormones, their testosterone.
Right.
What do you think about that? I think it's interesting. Without any doing any type of scientific study, I already knew tears were boner killers. I already knew that. But it's interesting that it can be confirmed in this way.
Yeah, I definitely do agree with, just in general, the guy's not going to get horny watching a girl cry, right? Tears are not turn-ons for men. But, I mean, it's an interesting study. I definitely think it's interesting. And, I mean, you can't really go against a study because, here are the facts. This is what happens. I would like to see the study, though, with sort of a broad, I think you only had 16 men. I would like to see a little bit more men and give them more, because what they showed these men were just photographs of women's faces. Give them a little bit more than that, a little bit more stimulation, like porn maybe. Give them porn and see if they can...
I would be interested if they actually took this in, because it just seemed like the whole idea is if you're just around the tears, or not that you directly caused them, but yet it still
the smell
brings
tears,
down,
right?
Your whole sexual interest. So how is it for if they did a test and a whole bunch of group of guys are together, or maybe just you and a buddy, and the buddy's getting screamed at by his girlfriend? Does that negativity also affect the friend in terms of, as a male, that turns him down as well?
That'll be interesting.
Like how, is it just tears? Does anger? Is it the negative response that's turning these guys off? Like, oh, this is not sexy. Subconsciously, this is not sexy at all.
Right. That's interesting. That I would like to see, a study like that.
They probably will do it.
Eventually, everything gets done.